All right. So my name is Braden. I'm the co-founder and head of growth of Sendoso. What Sendoso is we are a gifting platform. So anything you want to send to a customer, to a prospect, to thank somebody is what we do. We do four types of sends. First one's digital. So think like $10 to Starbucks or money to DoorDash. They're instant. People are very thankful for like those instant sends. Think of like an instant, like, hey, like thanks for the referral. Here's, grab coffee on me today. Or is a good use case for e-gifts. We also plug into Amazon, so anything you might want to send from Amazon. We also do think like alumni stuff. Think like if someone's heading on vacation and you want to send like a cool send from Amazon, we intercept those packages, put them in a branded box, add a handwritten note to it, and then send it. We also do direct sends, so think like cookies, think flowers, think alcohol, wine, etc. We also send. It's a really good use case for very, very personalized sends, like maybe like those folks that you want to get in front of or say thank you by sending cookies. And then the last piece, our bread and butter, is we also operate 5 warehouses around the world. In those warehouses, we store things, we package this together, do handwritten notes. We can simply send anything that you might want to send to somebody to say thanks, to a prospect, to try to get a meeting, to a customer to say, hey, like, your renewal's approaching, or hey, can we hop on the phone to talk, a growth model, etc. That's what Sendoso is.
What stage of companies do you see that gifting becomes more effective, or from the four types you described, in what stages you've seen most success with which type of gifting?
The majority of people that use us, it's a very large spectrum. So typically it's marketing and sales are our primary users. HR uses us as well, and so does success. Anyone that needs to build a relationship with a customer or the prospect is a great use case for us. I mean, which is pretty much everybody. Most folks will join us in like the SMB type phase where and they'll start with digital gifts because they're easy. They maybe don't know exactly what their brand looks like yet. So digital is a good way to start. We have a platform called Express, so it's free to start with e-gifts. You can send those things out. And then from there, they typically grow to more enterprise type folks who are sending more advanced gifts. Like think like a branded box with a handwritten note and a bunch of like, shirts and all types of things. And like there's the ones that have the most success with Sendoso is where they're fitting this into their entire mix of
Mhm.
outreach and communication to customers. So they know like what they're sending goes along with the content on their website, goes along with the content their sales team is talking about, et cetera.
With the whole gifting thing, it takes it very much back to human nature and like reciprocity and being kind to each other. How does one can measure success of a gifting campaign? Do you work actually with campaigns is the first question, or usually with your customers and
Yeah.
people you advise is a more like a long-term, non-specific end date?
The most successful companies that use us do use us in campaigns. So let's like take like the entire kind of like customer journey. So at the very start of the customer journey, there's sales reaching out, marketing is reaching out, you're going to events. So you would use us there for like maybe one of the steps in your sequence or cadence. You would use us like maybe someone's posted, hey, I got a new job at a new company. They post it on LinkedIn. All those are reasons to reach out. Reciprocity is a perfect word to reach out and say, hey, congrats on the new job, or hey, would love to connect and show you like how we're working with companies like yours. Grab coffee on me today, read this case study. Or hey, I know you're a huge fan of the Tottenham Hotspurs, and so I'm sending something that I thought you would like, as we go into the season. We'd love to show you what we do, etc. I think the sends that go along the best are ones like books, ones like handwritten notes, ones like things that are very personalized. So like that's the kind of the top of the customer journey.
Mhm.
As they're going through, looking at a demo, contract negotiations, etc. Always a good reason to send something. I usually send like swag because it's like, yeah, hey, like, you're becoming a customer. Isn't that great? Here's a hat with our logo on it. Here's a shirt with our logo on it. Those are good sends. Or coffee, you send to procurement. So there's all types of things you can do there. But once they're a customer, awesome. Now there's gifts you can send there to celebrate, champagne, etc. Hey, you're in the system. You're going through onboarding. And then as they approach the renewal, you can do more gifts, better, essentially just staying in front of them. The ones that have success are where they're also pretty attached to their customer. If someone has a life event, a wedding, a kid, things like that, those are also good reasons for sends. Like send a onesie with your logo on it, et cetera, is like
Mhm.
are always good ideas. There's also like once they're a happy customer, there's the referral side. So if they're helping with referrals, if they're helping with, promoting you online, those are all good reasons to say thank you. I don't think you have to do it every single time, but sending like a thank you is a very important thing to like kind of keep them happy and to keep those
Hmm.
referrals and those conversations happening.
Yeah, especially if it has a real instance. I guess the handwritten note really changes the relationship between the company and the customer.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's all types of things that I think work well. Like you kind of know your customer, and so there might be things that if they're talking about a vacation a ton. I mean, like, or if they're talking about a book they just read, or if you know they're into something, those personalized sends really stand out.
With the whole sending thing, one of the reasons we started considering working with you guys and integrating it more into the product was we're looking at LinkedIn, and I was seeing people were posting a picture of when a company sent them something. Not necessarily a gift, but also, yeah, like a paper that thanks them for that. Like you said, thank you note
Yeah,
or like a checklist, but it had a physical instance. And I guess there it went like two ways. Not only that did that company build a great relationship with that customer, but that customer posted on social media, and they went LinkedIn viral. So like a couple of hundred of people engaging with it. So it was really in perspective trying to figure out how does a company go about sending that, and now that we're considering it, implementing it for viral loops, we see a big potential. How did this whole thing with Zendoso start with you? I'm sure you've covered it many times, but I also like to hear a quick story because it's a very niche thing to start because it's not software, it's not hardware, it's somewhere in the
in
middle of the
bet
two.
in between. Yeah. So I and my co-founder were both on the sales side, and what we used to do is we used to send coffee gift cards out. So we originally called the company Coffee Sender, and the idea was to send out Starbucks gift cards to people to try to get meetings. And it was a $5 Starbucks gift card. That's all we sent. And we did it in email. So it'd be like, hey, like, let's connect, and here's $5 to Starbucks. That was like 2015, 2014. And no one was like that was when like all the cadence and sequence tools were just bombarding people. So you started to get like hundreds of emails that made no sense. And our emails went through like, yeah, hey, like let's connect. Here's a Starbucks gift card. And it worked really well. So we built like a platform that did that, gave it to all of our buddies in sales. And everyone was like, this is great. Like I'm standing out. My response rates have gone way up. We attached them to surveys also, being
Mhm.
like, yeah, hey, like complete a survey at SurveyMonkey and you get $5 at Starbucks. And then we built a widget to plug it to Salesforce. So tracking gifting is something that people like gifting's been around forever, but no one's ever really tracked it. Like you track email open rates, but you don't track like, hey, is anyone actually using my gifts? So that's what we pushed out like right away and it took off. Like the first month, we made like 60 grand. People were like, "Yeah, hey, I want other things than just coffee. Like I want to send physical gifts, or I have all this stuff under my desk. Like, can I send that to you? And you can send that for me." And so like we were like, we got to figure out how to do more than just coffee, how to do
Mhm.
physical things. So we decided to send oh so much more than just coffee. That's where the name Sendoso comes from. I'm just kidding.
Oh
It's
wow.
not where the name comes from, but that's what we like to say is like send oh so much more.
Like I see it now, and you had to
Yeah.
take it away from Death Coffee to
Yeah, way to go.
some like a
We'll call
Starbucks
it something else.
competitor.
I argue with my co-founder all the time that that's why we call it Sendoso, but that's not the true story. True story is we wanted it to call it Sender, but the Sender name was too expensive. You were asking me like, do I have any ideas of campaigns that went badly? And
Yeah, like
yes,
fun
absolutely.
story or something.
You can get too personalized. Like you can send something that's a little too like on the nose. Like we had someone be like, yeah, hey, like I saw you're going on vacation. Like here's a beach towel for being on the beach. And that person had posted like on Twitter like forever ago. Like they like scoured their social, found that and sent that. They were like, this is creepy. It's almost like stalkerish. So like those sends, we have a million stories of things that almost you get too personalized that they don't work at all. The famous stories of like sending chocolate in the summer was a bad one. We thought we for a while there we plugged into Uber Eats and we're like, oh hey, like we'll send bagels to people. And like the problem was is this was like 2019. Problem was no one could get to the floor needed to deliver the bagels. And so all these bagels just like ended up like in the lobby of like all these buildings in New York. And it happened multiple times. And we're like we can't figure like so there's like the food deliveries were really hard because you would sometimes deliver it to someone's office on a Friday. They'd show up on Sunday and the food was bad. And so we're like, we got to figure out how to build capabilities in the system where that doesn't happen.
Wow, yeah. Actual supply chain, the bagel supply chain, it was not working for you.
Yeah.
And
We didn't know much about the bagel supply chain.
makes sense. But with food, it must be a bit hard. I've only seen again, like people on LinkedIn that presenting it as a way to get hired, deliver a box of donuts to the manager of the job you want to
Yep.
get hired, and do something like that. But at scaling it with automation, I guess that's where the problem arises. Doing it yourself might be a bit easier.
Yes. Yeah. Very true.
Okay, so do not get too personal. That's definitely one. And how you've seen recently with you as a company Sendoso, how do you approach your marketing as Sendoso the brand, as Sendoso, as Braden?
Yeah. We do really well at events. So if you're spending money at an event by, having a booth, having your logo, it means you care about your logo, you care about like how you stand out at an event. So when we sponsor an event, we spend a lot of our time talking to the other companies that are exhibiting in there. That's just really good marketing for us. We walk around and say, hey, how do you ship your booth? How do you ship swag? That's a really good line for us to connect to potential prospects. We do a lot of gifting too, like as you go through the funnel. So as your first demo happens, as your second demo happens, as you go through the contract phase, as you approach your renewal date, we have triggers set up the entire process. And so as you like are 6 months away from your typical renewal date, you get a certain gift in the mail. If you've been a customer for X number of years, you get a gift in the mail. We have these folks we call super senders that have been,
Mhm.
on our platform for a long time that we send gifts to. So there's a good amount there. Like we're trying to build a community around gifting and around the art of gifting. And like that's a lot of how we approach it because if you understand how this works and if you've had success with it and you're a believer, it's an easy place to get you to be an advocate for us.
Nice. That's interesting to hear. So you don't do as Sendoso, do you do anything specific to generate word of mouth, or just the gifting itself seems to be
Just the
enough?
gift, just gifting itself, we're pretty viral. So I feel like if you send a package to somebody, like sometimes it might say Sendoso on it, and so people, or you send an e-gift, like and like the URL. So we're a pretty viral product in terms of like getting people to sign up. What we did do in terms of marketing is we rolled out a free plan, an express plan, so where you can go in just send out e-gifts, and that has been really good for us in terms of like a PLG motion to get people used to sending stuff out.
I see. So, because the we really like the brand and it was easy to find you guys. So, and you seem very professional. And now to bring it back to the person to the company doing the gifting, in terms of in the industries, of course it can be across the board. Any industry can send any gift from other industry. But is it something you've seen work better for e-commerce businesses? Is it something that could work for professional services like agents, real estate agents, and other sets community services? Or is there a pattern in
Yeah,
what?
yeah, we have the most success with like kind of traditional SaaS tech companies like marketing and sales. We knew for us is like real estate is a big one. They do a lot of digital e-gifts, a lot of like holiday because like the way most people look at gifting is it's like a holiday type thing. So as the holidays approach, they send out gifts to thank customers. And like when we first started, one of the first questions we always used to ask was like, yeah, hey, did you do holiday gifts, last year? Everyone says yes. Of course, we sent out popcorn, we sent out chocolate, we sent out pears. And you're like, it's great. How much did you spend? Like it's always 50,000. Like, cool. What did that do for you ROI wise? Like, did you track that stuff in Salesforce? Did you track like if you sent chocolates to somebody, they came to your website and spent more money, or they came to your site and they, expanded. And most folks couldn't make that connection in SaaS, but they knew they needed to do gifts. So that's where we kind of started as a company as a really good discovery question. Like, what did that do for you? So SaaS, tech, financial services is huge for us, like banks, credit cards, et cetera, is really big. Then manufacturing's new for us. So like if you're like anyone that has like B2B vendors is a really good fit. And then a new industry for us since COVID has been like HR. So if you have employees and you want to send stuff to employees to thank them for hard work, or you want to send swag out to folks, like you might use our systems as well.
I see. Nice. So a lot of industries, and nothing very
Yeah, there's a
specific.
wide range. Makes it hard for sales because like sales is like our ICP we call it as sales and marketing, but
Hmm.
the use case is different. And so like you as a salesperson here, you have to get really good at like identifying like what they're trying to do. And then we plug into about 40 systems. And so like you might be using a combination of, a different CRM and different marketing automation tool. And so you have to know like how that kind of plays together and how you can fit in to help the company track what they're sending.
Awesome. Now with the new integration that we're rolling out with Varloops and Sendoso, one will be able, just to recap it all, one will be able to create a referral campaign with Varloops and as incentives for the referrals, put gifts through your platform. What are some sort of, with your knowledge of referral programs right now, what would you recommend, like some, how would you design such a campaign for one of your customers? For example, to which side would you offer gifts? What would be the requirements? What gifts would you do? Maybe for Sendoso, maybe because it's the company you have in your mind the most, if you rolled out a referral
Yeah,
program.
like the most ideal referral program in my mind is it's almost like you think about how like you're staying in a really nice hotel and it's like it's like a hotel that thinks of everything. So like here in my mind is what I would think like the perfect flow is.
Hmm.
So if someone's talking to a customer for a referral, you typically know who it is because they've had a demo, they've had a conversation, you've made the connection of, hey, go and talk to these folks that are all, happy customers of ours. And before that call happens, I would send an e-gift to both people. Like let's say $5 to Starbucks, saying, "Hey, like like you're having a conversation tomorrow. Grab coffee on us. Hope you have a good conversation." Like
Hmm.
that's fancy. And like that's like you're engaged. I've never gotten that in my life, but that'd be a really cool thing to do before the referral call. The referral call happens after that phone call. You an email to the person who might buy you, who's like, asking the questions. Like you don't need a gift there. The person that did the call for you, that you need to thank them. I think that there's a couple options depending on like I think there's a wide variety of things you could send there. I think if there's someone who's really into their family, I think there's things you can do there for like, sending a kit, like a donut making kit to do with their kids, or if they're into surfing or whatever have you there. I think there's like lots of things you can send there. Branded is a really good idea for post referral, something branded, t-shirt, Patagonia, etc. And then if that person continues to do referrals, I think that there's stuff you could send maybe not after they do something, but maybe just out of the blue. Like, hey, like a good example is like a handwritten note from your founder thanking them. Like a handwritten note saying, "Hey, thanks for, taking the time to do this stuff," is a very classy and nice touch. And not sending a gift every time after they do something for you in the referral world, but like just out of the blue is a very nice touch because you're building advocates that are willing to do whatever they need for you. They're at a conference or talking about you. So I think it's important to keep in mind. You don't always have to do a send because they did a thanks or because they did a call for you. Like that in my mind would be the perfect program. I would say most people they only send after the person does a call for them. But I think
And
there's
I
other
guess
steps
with,
that they can
yeah,
include.
you took it to the next level, getting I guess the out of the blue element seems to be very large in your world. Do
Surprise and delight is the term that
so,
we would use. There's the handwritten note thing I love. And like I don't think enough people do it as like a simple handwritten note, just thanking somebody is such an overlooked nice thing, especially from your CEO. Like you can automate that. They don't know.
mhm. Wow. Yeah, I guess it brings it back in the after in the, all this online world that it's still humans behind the screens after all, and just not just buttons. Awesome. Okay, and in terms of gifts for that for small companies, what if they only have e-gifts to now it's a bit more technical. What you've seen to be a great start with e-gifts perform good, like a more of an easy
Yeah.
tip here.
You can do the same thing with e-gifts. I think like e-gifts, like I lean because I that's where we started. I think coffee e-gifts are great because I think Starbucks are everywhere. I think lunch ones are great from DoorDash or Uber Eats, etc. If you don't know what to get, I think Visa is okay. Like it's Visa and Amazon cards. I think are good sends if you have no clue what to send to somebody if you've never
Hmm.
talked to them. But I think eventually the thing that helps an e-gift stand out is what the content is. So like I think that hey, like thanking them for something and saying grab coffee on me today is a nice touch because like you're and sending it in the morning, not at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I think are all important steps. So you can do the same thing with e-gifts because like a note still shows up with the e-gift you're sending. It's maybe not be handwritten, but I think it's a good start to test.
Awesome. Cool. And yeah, I'm gonna get, I guess, last question for e-gifts specifically. They're only delivered through email. I guess that's the e part of them. Uh,
Or email or text.
or text or like SMS,
Yeah.
iMessage. Cool. Okay,
Yep.
that's good to know. And that you set up through your platform usually.
Yep. Yeah.
Awesome. And is there what can you do there to add that surprise and delight part? Because I guess they're not handwritten notes. Maybe you don't have the time to do that. What can one do to, yeah, to just give it the extra notch, to give it the braid and touch, to make it an extra
Before,
good gift?
yeah, I like the sending it with so like let's say this was a demo for sales and like after this phone call, I send you a bunch of follow-up stuff. Like sending a coffee with that as you like I know this is a ton of stuff. As you go through it, here's a coffee on me and like let me know what questions you have. If you're trying to build a relationship with a customer, sending like a DoorDash gift card on like a Thursday afternoon or Friday evening, saying, hey, like have dinner on me this week end or like this week is a nice touch doing someone has a kid, like life events are very important sending things, especially if they're talking about it on LinkedIn. If someone's like, hey, I'm going on leave. So a good thing is like, yeah, hey, like here's an Amazon gift card. Here's a book that I enjoyed when I had my child. Like you should buy this. And like here's an Amazon gift card for me. So I think things like that, like a reason for sending, not like, hey, here's an Uber card, and by the way, like let's hop on a demo. I don't think that works. I think you have to connect it to something you want them to do with it, whether it be
Yeah.
getting coffee, whether it be buying a book, whether it be having dinner or lunch with their family.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you have to. There is a thin line between gift and bribe.
Yes. Yes. I think there's I mean like e-gifts work really well in the US. E-gifts don't work as well in Europe. So I think that there's, a distinction there as well.
Okay, maybe for our European people who we work with, maybe we're gonna advise more handwritten notes in multiple languages to satisfy everyone.
The content, yeah, like the content needs to be good. Like you can't just send it to send it. Like have good content around it
Mhm.
is my advice.
Okay, and one last thing, I said it previously was the last, but this is really the last. At Viral Loops now we're building some sort of a directory where we ask different experts for their quotes on what 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 is their number one strategy to increase for them engagement and referrals. You've already covered, of course, gifting as the one, but if I could put one of your quotes there as from Braden, what would be your top strategy to get more referrals for your company that you would say to someone?
I think a big one is you need to build a personal brand, not just around your company, but around yourself. So
Hmm.
people that give referrals love your company, but they also should have a relationship with you or with somebody at your company. So I think it's important to continue that. And no matter, because like people leave jobs every 2 years. And so like if they go somewhere else and they were a referral person for you at that last company they were with, it doesn't mean the relationship ends. It means you should continue to engage with them. They could buy again. They could also be like a new referral source for you. So relationships, I think, span past companies. They need to be like human to human relationships that you need to
Hmm.
keep going no matter where they are.
Okay, so you go one level deeper in the B2B concepts.
Yeah, like a quote would be like, I think people buy from people.
Fair.
That's a famous one
Yeah,
that we typically use a lot. Yeah.
awesome. Cool. Well,
All
thank you
right.
very much
Hope this
for
was
your wisdom.
helpful. Thank you.